is the agenda automatically going to progress, or do I need to do anything? There we go. Thank you. Oh, school calendar, mine says. Does everyone else say school calendar? Okay. You're off cruise? Okay, my mistake. I'm on cruise control. Okay, questions regarding legal services. And this is just an information item, so we have to sort of intermingle. And I put these questions forward for Mr. Rowland because I think it's a good practice every few years. And it's a good practice with all our contractors, including attorney services. It's also good with architects and any other kind of contract service that we involve ourselves in. And since I've just been on the board 2 years, my question came on what we're doing in terms of going out to bid for attorney services. And part of the asset of going out to bid on attorney services is also to actually have attorneys who might want to get in and participate in providing service to us, actually be able to submit applications and actually do presentations to the board, and actually set up a competitive system where they are competing with each other to try to access services with us as one of their clients. So I was just asking for information on when the last time the district went to bid and when was the last time we actually had presentations or competition from attorneys.
Thank you, Ms. Hanson. I'll provide the board with a bit of context regarding that's an important tonight. I'm like, I apologize. Do I need to repeat myself?
No, it's
Yes.
okay. Thanks.
In 2004, before I took this job, despite the inflation in legal costs, our legal bills were about double what they are now. So one of my initial tasks was to implement strategies, policies, and procedures to lower our legal bills. And one of the first things, we did a number of things initially, including billing standards, which are included on the next item. We had no billing standards of the district, and we implemented billing standards for employees, for attorneys, excuse me. We standardized the legal contracts, and we implemented legal law auditing. One of the other things we did is just what you suggest, is we opened up the services. We had 1 or 2 firms, and then we opened up the services to a number of different firms who were able to approach the district and make recommendations about how they could do things better and more efficiently and less expensively. We managed to do that, and we hired a few other local firms to do some litigation and to do some work for the district. Then in around 2010, we had some discussions with the board about going out to an RFP for legal services, and we did that. We did a pretty extensive process, and we got a voluminous amount of responses, very detailed responses. And we used those responses to test the market and determine if we were getting how much bang we were getting for our buck. We all understood at the time, and still is the case, that legal services are a specialized service. They don't require a bid process. So we took the information that we got from that, and we tried to increase competition with firms. We have 6 firms on retainer, not retainer, but 6 firms that we use now. And that dynamic tension has kept the billable hour rates very low. After the RFP process in 2010, we did some other things to lower bills. We consolidated the legal budgets and put some practices in place through our office to limit access to attorneys. And as we saw tonight, those practices worked because we heard from FICMAT that the mediation fees and settlements are decreasing out of special education. So that is one of the byproducts of that. The last thing we did was to hire Ms. Cooksey, because we had pretty high bills for our labor negotiations. We were able to realize a lot of economy through the great expertise of Ms. Cooksey. So with regard to the RFP process, the last time we did it was in 2010. And specifically, with regard to your second question, I don't recall the last time that any attorneys or any of our vendors were asked to make presentations to the board for their services. They regularly make presentations to the board, and the contracts are regularly brought before the board for approval. But there has not been a process where architects or lawyers or any of our other many vendors come before the board and make presentations.
And I suggest this because this happens in some other districts where they come forward, they submit their resumes, they're actually making presentations, the actual attorney who's going to be providing those legal services. So sometimes it gives us a chance, not to see a partner of the firm, but to see the actual attorney and have some input then into how that person will represent us. So we haven't done this. So the last time we went to bid was several years ago. Okay, and then on this, I had asked for invoices and contracts for Gegg and McCoy because I don't have them down as one of our approved attorneys when I had asked you to send me the list of attorneys. And I think we've had bills from them I know we've had bills from them that have been paid. And so I'm not clear on where that stands, because when I asked for a list of attorneys, you had told me that the board must approve these law firms, the entire board must approve, and I don't see any record that the board has approved those firms.
There are certain requirements, there are certain limits, $25,000 being the limit, that we have the authority to hire firms at less than $25,000 to do a specific task. The "we" is generally my office, but the "we" that I'm referring to is the district. So
So who would sign those contracts? Because I was asking to get copies of those, and I had asked Mr. Richards the other day, but he said
those are
you had
available in
those.
my office. You asked them for me as well, and I
Okay,
have those.
and so I was hoping today to pick those up, and those are available?
They are.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just putting this item forward because it's an excellent business practice, I think, for increasing competition among attorneys and actually a chance for us to find out who is out there, because firms pop up periodically and we can find that there's some excellent resources we haven't considered and for
Absolutely.
lower prices.
People make presentations, they contact my office with some degree of regularity. It's a somewhat finite community in the education law community. However, it's a more broad community with regard to litigation and some of the more specific expertise that some firms can provide. And we sometimes seek out those firms for specific tasks, and sometimes they contact our office seeking to become hired.
But it's never been where they've come actually making presentations for their services in a competitive manner. Thank you.
It's always been in competitive manner.
But-
There is a great deal
But
of
through your
competition.
office?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just asking our practice because I do suggest that we look, I think it's just a good rule of thumb, every 3 to 4 years. You wouldn't want to do it every year, but every 3 to 4 years maybe, having contracts for services that we maintain regular, long relationships with. I think every 3 to 4 years is a good rule of thumb to kind of go out and see who else is out there and get them to compete a little, or they get way too comfortable, and we always have to look for the low cost, best service at the lowest price. So thank you for answering those, and next on the, since that was just information, next item is legal services contracts, and it's Mr. Mims.